Good morning. Good morning, Paula.
Good morning, Emily.
Good to see you again. Many of us were yesterday at the Boston Birth to 8 meeting where Paula gave us the very similar update around, right? It was the supply, was it? No,
It was the supply and demand
it was
yesterday.
supply and demand, yes.
Yeah,
The
today's
data.
childcare survey. Yeah.
So we're so happy that you're here today. It's kind of the the way we think about the 9:30 call, right? As a chance to get to a bigger audience. So we're so glad that you're with us this morning. And you've been with us many times in the last few months. There's been a lot of exciting things happening in Boston. But I don't know if you shared your other news with this crowd, Paula, and this crowd will be very excited about it. So
I
as
don't
you tell
think
us a
so.
little bit about you, tell us all your updates, and then we'll look forward to your presentation.
Happily. Well, hi everyone. I'm Paula Gaviria. I am the Childcare Analytics and Program Director at the Mayor's Office of Early Childhood in the city of Boston. And I am excited to meet our firstborn November 15. So the first constituent for our office, to say so. And I've been in the field of early childhood for 15 years now, starting as a psychologist and then working with young children in my private practice, in prison environments, teaching students how to work with them, and then getting a degree in public policy and working towards making early childhood really uh, the best
Well,
thing
hopefully you
for
saw all
all
the love
children.
that was blossoming here.
I
I'm so
saw, I saw. Thank you. It's
great.
exciting.
It is exciting, right? When we started early education for all back in the early 2000s, we imagined a child kind of like as we were thinking about the policies we were developing. So now we will think of your newborn baby in
Thank you.
November.
And I'll be completing the survey next year.
That's let's look at that data.
So I'll share my screen
Great.
and tell me if you can see it.
Looks like it's loading.
Yeah, it says your screen sharing is paused. Allowed. Okay. Wait, let's see. Let me try again. 'Cause
Okay. Hardest part of the 9:30 calls, we say.
I
And
know,
thank
but it never happens. So let's
I
see.
know.
Should work. Why does it say that it's paused? Hmm. Do I
It
need to
says
accept something?
it's let me see. Host tools. It's you should be able to share screen.
Yeah, share. Hmm. Nope, it doesn't seem to be working. Not a problem. Honestly, the slides,
Or if you want to send me the slides while you're and I can share them too, Paula. But you can get
let's do
started
that.
and then I can
Okay,
catch up.
yeah, of course. So let's do that. Oh, I think it worked.
I
Did it work?
mean, it's like we taunted it and it said, no, I will work.
Okay.
Well done. Okay, here we go.
Amazing. So just a quick overview for those of you that do not know about the childcare survey. It started in 2019. It was the first of its kind in the nation, launched by a local government. And it started because the city, wanted to understand the challenges families faced in accessing childcare for their children ages 0 to 5. But now it's been going on for 6 years, and we want to expand a bit to continue to understand the challenges families face in accessing and affording care, but not only for their young children ages 0 to 5, but also before and after care for children 6 to 13, as well as their use and perception of public spaces. So libraries, parks, playgrounds, everything that the city uh, oversees and can work around. And this helps us inform policy decisions. And I'll show you a bit of what we've done in the past and programs and services for all of our families in Boston. Really, here the goal is to make Boston the most family friendly city. So, a bit of our evolution. This is the first survey, and it was just one page, and we shared it with language and disability. It went out with a city census, and it only had questions around the current arrangement of childcare and the difficulties parents faced when getting to this childcare. Then in 2021 and 2022, there was no survey during 2020 because of the pandemic, but we got two sides of a page, and there's where we expanded. And it was very interesting because we included questions not only around the current arrangement, but also the ideal arrangement. So what would parents like for their child? And we also added questions around how long does it take you to get the childcare? How much do you pay for childcare? And how much do you make, to understand if what you were paying for childcare was a large sum of what you were earning. Um, we changed these questions in 2023 and 2024 because one, we realized that many parents and caregivers were not very comfortable adding the information about how much they made annually. And some of them struggled with the how long does it take to get the childcare, whether it was walking or by car or bike. So we removed those, and we asked questions in a different way. For example, to understand if parents and caregivers were paying a larger sum for childcare that we would like. We asked, do you spend more on childcare for all your children than your rent or mortgage? And this helps us get an idea of how expensive it is for families. And we started to add the questions in 2023 around the use of public spaces. And as I mentioned, it was use and perception. So do you use this space? How close it is to home? And to get an idea of this, is it walking distance from home? Do you think it's a safe space, a clean space? And does it have adequate materials for children ages 0 to 5 to play? This, as I mentioned, because as a city, we oversee this space, all these spaces, and we really want to make them adequate for families with young children because we know it's another resource. And
Paula,
then
it's so
finally,
interesting to hear the evolution, like the learning and especially how you frame questions. The other piece is most communities do a yearly survey. So Boston does one, but this is something we've had questions from other communities. Can we do this? Yes.
yes, yes, and I'll be happy to share like the previous survey so you can pick and choose which
Great.
questions you want to ask. I think we started including the questions around use of public spaces because you'll see from the results, cost is the first challenge families face. We're aware of that. We're working around that, but that is quite a heavy lift. So we were like, what else can we do in the meantime while we address the cost and the lack of access of childcare? So finally, I failed to mention that all these past surveys have been available printed and online. This is the first time that we're piloting an only online version. And this is because the childcare survey used to go out with a city census, and it could only be answered, the city census could only be answered manually, and you had to mail it back to the city. Since 2024, this changed. People can respond to the city census online, and we saw a very steep decline in the number of responses that we got for the childcare survey. So we were like, hey, let's pilot online and see if we manage to get to all the neighborhoods that we really want to increase our response rates and see if there's a different reaction from parents. So this year, as I mentioned, we continue to ask questions around early education and care for children ages 0 to 5, but we've expanded to include before and after care for children ages 6 and 13. Because in the comments, and we tend to read all the comments, we did the data input manually, so we read all of them, all 3,000 of them. It was like, care does not finish at 5 for me. My children still go to school and I still struggle with finding arrangements that meet my work schedule. So we want to learn about that, and we want to see how we can start to address these challenges families face. And we continue to ask questions around use and perception of public spaces, but now for ages 0 to 13. What we realized with the past survey that was only 0 to 5 is that our BCYFs, so the Centers for Families and Youth, are an underused space for 0 to 5, but they are very used by 6 to 13. So we want to see how we can continue to support this age group, but also have activities for our younger children. So over the years, this is a summary of what we've learned. Childcare costs, that is the #1 challenge our parents face, especially for the younger children, so infants and toddlers, ages 0 to 2. Most parents select the formal care setting as their ideal arrangement, with center-based care being the #1, followed by public and charter schools. There's also a change depending on the age of the child. Parental care is selected for the youngest children. For the rest, like ages 2 and up, it's always formal care. Many parents rely on more than one care arrangement, and many of them, besides having like center-based care, use family, friend, and neighbor, parental care, or nannies to mix and match throughout the day so their children are cared for while they work. And they consistently prefer options close to home. This, we think, also changed due to the pandemic because more parents have the flexibility to work from home, and this might have led to this change. Even though we see more individuals, because we do ask if the parent is one of the primary care arrangements, which parent is the one that is a primary caretaker. We've seen over the year an increase of selections of both parents or father, but the #1 primary caretaker continues to be women in most households. And public spaces are an essential resource. So just an example, there's families that can't access childcare with their younger children, either because of long wait lists or very high costs. And they go to libraries throughout the day and engage in story time and meet other children, or to playgrounds. And they do mention this, like, this is an amazing resource, thank you. So we want to continue to invest. So this is a bit of what we've done with the information that we've gathered over the years from the childcare survey. The first one is the creation of the Office of Early Childhood. So the survey was created by the Mayor's Office of Women's Advancement, the Economic Mobility Lab, but there was no Office of Early Childhood. From all the responses, people were like, hey, maybe we should have an office that it only focuses on things early childhood. Another thing was the expansion of Boston pre-K seats, because as I mentioned before, cost is the #1 challenge we see that parents face. And we've done this through several investments, but a very big one was in 2022. We've also started serving children and giving them biking lessons to our youngest ones. And we've served over 4,500 children through our youth cycling program, because parents say, like, parks are amazing, but sometimes I don't know what to do. Or I would love to teach my child how to ride a bike, but I'm a bit scared about the safety. And so we focused efforts on other activities outside of childcare. And to address the lack of infant and toddler seats, we've supported the licensing of 68 family childcare providers, with at least 7 more on the way. And we're continuing to do this. So this was using ARPA funds, but now we are making it part of our operational funds, because we do see family childcare as a great investment in addressing the gap we see for our younger children. And last but not least, we also changed the zoning code with the data that we've gathered from the childcare survey and the supply and demand, to demonstrate, like, hey, childcare should be available throughout the city, not only in specific neighborhoods. And in October of 2022, we did that. So now childcares can open everywhere in the city, except in like the ports, which makes sense. We don't want children that close to the water. And I'm almost done. So this is 2 maps where you can see on the left the surveys received by zip code. So Dark green indicates that we received like a very high response rate compared to the number of children that live there. And the red indicates a low response rate compared to the number of children that live there. The map on the right shows you the children ages 0 to 5. Also, green means that there's many children in those neighborhoods and zip codes. Red means that they're areas with a low population of children. So really what we're trying to do over the years is reach those neighborhoods that are green on the right, but continue to be red on the left. So we want to reach Hyde Park, Mattapan, East Boston, Roxbury, all these neighborhoods that we know have a high density of young children living there, but parents do not answer the survey for several reasons, right? And we also expect that there might be some pushback this year because of the current federal climate in answering surveys and sharing data, even though the survey is completely anonymous. We only want to know your zip code so we can know if it's representative of the city, but we do expect that. So our ask is help us spread the word. We have bookmarks that we can deliver in English and Spanish. We will be posting some Instagram posts. I've created a one-pager that explains to parents the survey, why we ask these questions, how we use this information, that it's completely anonymous. And yeah, because as you've seen, we really use this information to inform policy and programming in our office. And every response that we get continues to make a difference.
First 9:30 callers, please show some love and appreciation for Paula and the work. And again, we love context and the history of how this all came to be. Um, There, and it's very timely that you're here. Tomorrow on the 9:30 call, Jeff Liebman will present estimates of the gaps. He did a survey of mothers across Massachusetts, with very similar questions about care arrangements. So it's like we planned it to have you today and Jeff tomorrow. So we hope folks will join us. And Paula is also starring on the 9:30 call in Espanol tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. And this is a call, remember, all in Spanish. So thank you for that. Let me see. There are a few questions in chat. Thank you. This is from Laura Perel. Thank you, Paula. The survey is so important. Picking up on your formal care data, how do families speak or consider licensed family child? I can't read this because my chat is too small. Let me see. Laura Burrell says, thank you. Picking up on your formal care data, how do families speak about or consider licensed family child care? Does the survey present that as a formal care setting as well?
Yes, so we present a licensed family childcare as a formal childcare setting. We make a difference between family, neighbor, and friend care. Um,
Yep.
and we even have in a parenthesis like home-based licensed providers for parents because we know that the language tends to change.
Yep.
And parents do select that as an option, as an ideal care, especially for the younger children. So
Yeah.
infant and toddlers, it comes up a lot.
Thanks, Paula. Can I ask a follow-up?
Sure. Sure.
When you look at that data do you break down in your answers, do you have the data that breaks down whether they are in centers or licensed family childcare, or is it just one big formal group category?
No, we separate. So we have as our options, we add center-based organizations, licensed family childcare providers. We even separate this year, we separated charter schools from Boston Public Schools. And then we have independent schools and religious schools. And then the informal care, which is nannies, then another option, parents, then family, friend, or neighbor. So we
Okay,
we
thank
give
you.
out,
It'll
yeah,
be great to see that breakdown data. Really
yeah,
exciting. Thank you.
you're welcome.
And Kara adds the zoning code change is huge. Thank you, Paula, for all your work. Natalia says, thank you, Paula, for all the amazing work that you do. Kim Allen says, this is very important. Thank you. Are you working with libraries, community health centers, churches in the neighborhoods? I would be happy to join a brainstorm. Do you have info that we could share online?
I do, and I'll share it with Amy and Mary after this
Great,
because
we'll put
yes,
it in the
that's
folder.
yep, yep.
Donna said, so powerful to ask these kinds of questions for the people most impacted. Thank you. Natalia asks, how can the city support public library programs for toddlers and infants so they better align with children's developmental stages? As a nanny who used to use these resources for many years, one recurring challenge is that story times and sing-alongs for children under 15 to 18 months are often scheduled during typical nap times. This makes it difficult for families and caregivers to access the benefits and these valuable programs.
Oh wow, this is amazing, an amazing question, and I think this would be good to share with our librarians.
Yes, and the Boston
And
Reads initiative that you're all
yeah,
working
I was
on.
about to mention, and since we have the new Boston Reads initiative, and we have parents and we have new individuals joining in reading and in reading in different languages to all our age groups, this will be valuable information that we can share with our network of Boston Public Libraries.
And Kim Lucas adds a great question for Countdown to Kindergarten as well. And Kim Lucas
Okay.
adds a question. Paula, can you expand a little bit on how the survey provides information that is different than other estimates of childcare demand?
Yes. So, for example, the information that we presented yesterday from the supply and demand, it doesn't take into account the preferences of parents or the actual childcare arrangement that they are using. For
Right.
the supply and demand, we rely on data from the American Community Survey to get an estimate of the number of children that live in the
Yep.
city in each neighborhood. And for that is the demand side, and the supply side, it's just getting an overall number of of seats available in each setting. So we understand like, oh, there's, let's say, 620 family childcare providers in the city, and this accounts for almost 6,000 seats that are available for our children. But we actually do not know if parents are using these seats or if they can
Right.
access these seats or if they prefer and have the option to care for their own child at home than sending them to a family childcare, to a center-based childcare. So this data lets us understand what parents are using and what they would love
Mm.
to use. And it could be the childcare arrangement that they currently have. It could be different.
Great. Thank you for that. Andrea, I see you have your hand up. Kate Warren Barnes added, none of the moms in my dissertation study knew about countdowns, so there's always room to continue the outreach around that. And then Kim Allen clarified, I meant a brainstorm about getting the word out. Are you also able to partner with the MBTA?
Oh, thank you, Kim. I know we can partner. Yes, the city has like access to these
Yeah,
huge billboards. So I'm looking into that because we are launching the Boston Read campaigns. They will overlap in this.
that's great.
So let's see how we can work around that. But I would love to brainstorm more on how we can get
Great.
this information out.
Andrea, what's your question?
On the slide, thank you, Paula, for all this very, very useful and helpful. I'm at Bunker Hill and we have about 40 students in the associates program that work in, 30 or so centers across the city of Boston. So I'd be happy to spread the word too if you have flyers or information. Question on the slide, the one on the right, well, at least on my right, had a zip code. I think it was 02135 that was white. What's the meaning of that? And it was on the other slide, it was an area that had a low response rate.
Yeah, so that is Brighton. It's an area that has like it's in the middle in the number of children if you compare it to like highly densely populated neighborhoods with children, that is Dorchester, West Roxbury, East Boston, things like that. And then neighborhoods with a very low population of young children, such as Back Bay, downtown area. Brighton ended up being white because of my color selection, because it's just like in the middle. There's not a lot of children, but
Got
there's
it.
not so few.
Okay,
But great question. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. A little more coming in chat. You can, Natalia, okay, wait a minute. Ooh. One of the things I can't see how okay, Kim adds, one of the things that early educators have asked from the city is a digital one-stop shop that puts all the links for young child resources in one place. Also, parental groups like in Facebook, you can reach a lot of parents like in those high need for areas to respond. Kate Warren says, yes, like Militant Mass Moms. So Paula, as usual, the 9:30 callers have come up with lots of ideas and resources
Thank
and
you.
questions for you.
Thank you.
So what's next for all this data? So you're presenting the data. What's the next kind of 6 months to a year look like?
So we will gather the data from this is another thing that is different. Before it used to run for a long time because it went out mailed and then came back and we didn't understand when we were getting the data. We're
Right.
closing the survey by the end of November. So hopefully also that like time period gives parents an idea.
Yep.
Of, I should complete this. Then we will do all the data analysis, make sure that it's people located in Boston just using the zip code. And we will share
Mhm.
this data as a brief report that is open to the public. And then we will use the data to inform like, oh, is our biking program working? Should we think about libraries in a different way? Or so
Right.
we use this data to continue to inform what our office does and help other departments within the city, whether it's parks and recreation or PCYF or the libraries, understand how they can also support families.
Wonderful. Paula, thank you so much for, putting an hour presentation into 30 minutes. If you send us the slides, we will post them on the follow-up folder. I will send you the chat so you will see kind of, I know it's hard to monitor when you're talking. And for everybody on the call, please join me in thanking Paula and cheering for the Red Sox tonight. Clarence, I do see that you're on the call.
Or
I
it's
don't know if people have seen, but they're not letting people from Massachusetts buy tickets for the game tonight, so we'll have to send our love to Paula and to the Red Sox tonight for the game one of the playoffs. So thanks so much for joining us. Tune in tomorrow to hear an update
yes,
from Jeff Liebman, another engaging discussion around data and research. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we will see you tomorrow.
thank you all. Bye.
Clarence. Bye, Paula.